Good morning, everyone. It is morning 437 of being on the road full time, and this morning we're waking up in Carlsbad, New Mexico.
Oh, it's cold. We came to the desert to see cactus, right? There's cactus, but they're in snow. We're headed to Carlsbad, and it's underground, and that's the warmest place I can find close to here.
We arrived in Carlsbad, New Mexico yesterday and found a gorgeous piece of BLM to set up camp and call home for the night. Our puppy Dixie is not a fan of the snow either and was very much encouraging us to hurry up and get in the truck.
It was actually only 6 miles to the gates of the park from where we were camped, but we had driven up a hill the night before and it was a bumpy road down.
Seeing Carlsbad Caverns National Park covered in snow like this is a pretty rare sight. Carlsbad gets on average about 5 inches of snow per year. We're only a week or so into 2021 and there is already about 3 inches on the ground. There are tons of hiking trails in every direction off of this road, and we wanted to stop and go to all of them. Unfortunately, we didn't have time for all of that, so we decided to head straight for the big hole. We left Dixie and the hut behind as we headed inside.
Are you excited?
I am. He may have been a little more excited than I was, but honestly, I hadn't done a whole lot of research on this place and really wasn't sure what was inside this giant hole in the ground.
I, on the other hand, was super excited about this. This has been on my bucket list for quite some time. I have quite a love of caves because as a teenager, that's what we did for fun, was climbing caves. This is a whole nother world. This is a single room cavern and it's the largest one in the whole country.
It was freezing outside and that trail is insanely steep. But the further we got in, the warmer it got. And I started to see why Shane was so excited.
After the first very steep initial descent, you reach the dark zone. The dark zone is an area where the natural light stops entering the cave, and that is where animals stop entering the cave. This area is very dimly lit to keep that from happening.
When we finally reached the light, I was absolutely overwhelmed at how beautiful my surroundings were.
These formations are spectacular. The thing I find most fascinating about them is just how long it takes to make one of these. These are formed from mineral deposits dripping through the ceiling of these caves over millions of years. To stand and imagine each one of these stalagmites or stalactites is formed from water dripping through rocks is just absolutely fascinating to me.
Normally, to enter these caves, you would have to be in part of a group guided tour. But due to COVID, we got to walk all by ourselves and take all of the pictures that we wanted to.
The last large obstacle to get into the big cavern of the cave is something called the iceberg formation, and it's a part of the ceiling that fell, and it's the largest one in the whole cave, and it's quite impressive of how far you have to travel to go around a part of the ceiling that has fallen.
It was around this point that the trail started to level out, and that meant we were entering the big room. This part of the cave can be accessed through an elevator so that you don't have to go down the about 1.5 miles straight downhill that we went through. But keep in mind that if you choose that route, you miss all of the beauty that we saw before. I didn't think that it could possibly get any cooler, but I was wrong.
This awesome formation is caused from stalactites dripping directly beneath to a stalagmite, and it created something called a fairy forest. As you travel through this cave, you find multiple signs of the original spelunkers of this cave and the great depths they went to find something that no other human had seen before, even as far as using helium balloons as well as ladders made of fencing and wood sticks. This cave is alive and it is ever changing. As you travel through it, you see signs of water levels changing these formations, as well as even forming a whole nother level below the one we were currently on. And then we reach the elevators. The elevators feature a fancy airlock because back in the 70s, they decided to repair it from drilling the elevator shaft because, in essence, when you drill a big hole into a cave, it dries it up. We're going up.
My ears are popping. Guys, that was like probably the coolest thing that we've ever seen. Dixie is real happy to have us back in the truck though.
And now it's time for us to go find somewhere to sleep.
But not before. We did a little bit more exploring throughout the park. This trail says no RVs or travel trailers, and one of the things that we love most about our rig is that it allows us to disregard those signs and pretty much go where we want to.
What I consider to be the pinnacle of this 9-mile loop is the view of Rattlesnake Canyon. One could travel 6 miles through the bottom of the canyon exploring it, but I much prefer the view from up here.
The drive out of there wasn't too shabby either. Thank you to each and every one of you who are following us along on this magical journey we call life. If you're new to the channel, be sure and hit that subscribe button, and everyone comment below and tell us what you think.